Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Aligned podcast. My name is Lee Lawton. I'm joined today by my co-host, Dr. Tom Wallow.
Great to see you, Lee. I love how many claps you can do, like all the different claps you've got to start the show.
I have to do different syncs.
I love it. What's good, mate? How have you been?
All good, mate. Yeah, really good. Good week at work so far. Really happy with how things are going.
Awesome. How's your training going?
Good. I'm enjoying it. 5 times a week. Push, pull, legs, push, pull.
Love it.
Yeah, really enjoying it. How about yours? I know you've been this morning.
Killing it, dude. I checked in with my personal trainer yesterday, who kicked my ass a little bit. So he got the calipers out. He's like, "Oh, you're looking thick." And then he gets down here. He's like, "Got some work to do, mate." So I'm on a journey.
That's why you pay him.
This is true. Why I pay him. Today we're going to talk about chiropractic, I think, which is sort of what we're both involved in.
Yep.
Obviously, this show is personal development to help people get better. But we have an underlying tone of chiropractic, and it's more than just adjusting spines and moving bodies around. So I want to just discuss that a little bit. But people, you know, your expertise is marketing, digital media, but you work with chiropractors.
Yes.
People have heard your story from the first show, but just for maybe those who haven't heard the previous episode, just a brief synopsis of why you're in chiropractic.
Yeah, so I had a digital media marketing agency previously, but I had an accident 5-6 years ago now, and where I went down a water slide, scorpioned, fractured my spine in 5 places, had a lot of issues with my spine and my back and my neck. Came to see you as my chiropractor, had the most incredible results ever, not just with my spine, but with my whole mental, physical, and even spiritual health. And so decided that I needed to help more people find chiropractic. So it's kind of what I want to do in this episode as well. For anybody who's not going to chiropractic, doesn't know anything about chiropractic, just explain to them the benefits of it and why they should probably try it out, even if they don't have a bad back.
Love it. Cool. Well, chiropractic is... I think TikTok's actually ruined chiropractic. Like, there's so many stupid videos of people waving their necks cracked and these Y straps put around their heads and yanked off. And I mean, I get what these chiropractors are doing, trying to grow their businesses, but I think it's a shortfall, and we'll get into that in previous episodes, I'm sure. But chiropractic, like, in its essence, what it is, it's a viewpoint on the world.
Yeah.
It's not about the spine first. If we take chiropractic, it's what's known as a philosophy, science, and art of things natural.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a natural approach to health, it's a natural approach to the world. Philosophy, science, and art, what does that mean? A philosophy is a love of wisdom, a search for wisdom. It's asking those questions about the world from a natural viewpoint. Why do things happen? What should we do? How can we make a better life? How can we improve things from a natural standpoint? The art is when a chiropractor works with another person to actually physically move their body and create and influence change to improve. And that's the art of chiropractic. And then the science is simply supporting the question that you've asked in the philosophy. So why is a natural approach good? Cool, let's look into this, and that's the science that follows it. So it's not an educated medical approach to the world, 1 + 1 = 2. It's really a philosophy on the world that things are natural, they happen for a reason, and that's what we should do. And then we, in chiropractic, come back to what's known as an a priori, which is the view we take on the world that we accept to be true, and from that, everything is deducted. So the a priori of chiropractic is, and it's a mouthful and I'll break it down, there is a universal intelligence in all matter that continuously gives to it all of its properties and actions, thus maintaining it in existence. Essentially what that means is there is some level of intelligence that is creating order in this entire world. From gravity to the sunrise, the sunset, to the fact that there are over 8 billion people on the planet, all have the same body temperature, they all have the same relative flows of blood in their body. There is an intelligence that is creating this system, and we have to trust and work with it. And that's how chiropractic works. And what I love about this and why it's so good and blended so well with personal development is, if you didn't listen to the previous episode, go back and listen. But there are reflections in the same thing, that we should all be trying to better ourselves, naturally discover who we are, trust the process, and chiropractic is a viewpoint on that. When you get into chiropractic and people come into an office, the thing that they do is they assess somebody's spine.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're really doing is they're assessing somebody's nervous system, how somebody's body is working.
Mm.
And with this intelligence, understanding that there's an intelligence, the other thing that we understand is that human beings are designed to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
We are designed to be healthy, not sick. And we are not sick because of lack of medication. We are not sick because of some genetic. We are sick because something is preventing us from getting well. And if we understand what controls the body to keep it well, it's the brain. The brain does that through the spine. And any interference with how that's working, misalignments of the spine, can cause the body to become in a state of disharmony, dis-ease, and end up becoming sick. And our job is to right that and then trust the body to create the process.
And that's what I love the philosophy side of chiropractic. Like you say, it resonates with personal development so deeply that they're basically the same thing. But that's how I describe it to people. I don't go into the deep philosophy of things with people when they don't know anything about chiropractic. I say the messages from your brain go down your spinal cord to every single part of your body. And when your spine is misaligned, the messages are disrupted and they're not getting to and from every single organ and different part of your body that there is. And is that a good way to...
It's a great way to describe it. The one that people really understand, it takes from a lay concept. Most people have heard of sciatica,
Mm-hmm.
pain down the leg,
Yep.
because a nerve is trapped in their low back.
Yep.
Now, oftentimes when people have sciatica, there's a nerve trapped in their low back, pain goes down the leg, and they start to have a change in their digestive system. Their bowels start to slow and they become a little bit constipated. And then they say, that's a side effect of the medication I'm taking. May or may not be true, but the nerves that go down your leg from your back, some of those nerves from your back also go through to your digestive system. Your digestive system, as an oversimplification, is simply a muscle that pushes poo.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a pinch on the nerve, that muscle isn't going to work so well, and things are going to change. People have heard of not heard of, but a lot of people have had neck pain.
Mm-hmm.
They may then get a little bit of referral into their shoulder, their arm, or their shoulder blade. Those nerves also go through to the heart. So a problem with nerves in the neck could be affecting the heart.
Mm.
They say they have high blood pressure, it's normal for me. Palpitations, normal for me. And this world has created such a norm out of ill health that we then neglect it. Or such a norm out of taking medication that we choose to do it. And they're the best salesman in the world. I admire this person who came up with this term, has created probably the biggest industry the world has ever seen off the back of one word, or one double barrel word: side effect. Because medications, we're told, are good for us, but there can be side effects.
Mm.
Now, if you're listening to this, you've probably done physics at school. And at school, we were taught the law of cause and effect. If I punch you in the face, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as cause and side effect.
No.
So when we take one of these medications, there is always a potential for an adverse affect that is directly related to the medication, not an incidental side effect.
No.
Now, medications may be necessary for some people in some instances, but the vast majority, not. And it simply comes down to the trust that your body is designed to be well. It is designed to heal, so long as it's allowed to do so and free of any interference that might stop it.
But they have more medication for those side effects.
I know. What a fucking brilliant business. What a brilliant upsell. Like, what? How do McDonald's get big? Burgers. Do you want fries with that?
Mm. Yeah.
Just adding those fries on the side.
Yeah.
Put it up. Oh, here, take this medication. Do you want some omeprazole with that? Because your stomach might be upset. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. And I said it in the previous episode, but since I came to chiropractic, I've had no medication. None.
Incredible.
I've not been sick for 5 years. And I'm not saying that that's a
But it's because
miracle.
you embrace the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of chiropractors get some heat, and there are going to be some people who watch this who might want to take a dig because they say, oh, chiropractors claim to cure everything. No, they don't.
No.
The only person who can get anybody better is themselves. The human body, its natural repair process.
Mm-hmm.
The reason you've got great results is not only because you've been adjusted and your spine's been realigned, but you've also taken on the whole encompassing philosophy, science, and art of things natural. You choose to eat well, you choose to move well, you choose to think well, and you support your body well so that it stays healthy.
Yeah.
If we eat shit, if we don't move, we have toxic thought, no matter how many adjustments you get, you're probably not going to get well.
No.
So it comes back to what is chiropractic. It's a viewpoint on the world and a way we approach health and well-being.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about the subluxation.
Yes.
I know it's a bit of it can be a funny topic in chiropractic, can't it? Some people are not subluxation-based chiropractors. Some people are subluxation-based chiropractors. Can you explain what the subluxation is for anybody who's listening who's not chiropractic related, and what causes a subluxation?
So the subluxation is the lexicon in chiropractic, which is a misalignment of the spine significant enough to cause nerve interference. If you have a misalignment of the spine that's not causing nerve interference, it's not really a chiropractor's remit. A chiropractor's remit is to adjust the spine to try and help the body put it in the right place and take the pressure off the nerve so the body can flow properly. So subluxation causes nerve interference. The biggest issue that happens from that, we now know, is that it reduces the amount of signals to the brain. I said this on the previous podcast, the saying is the body moves, the brain grooves. So movement of the body keeps the brain alive. If the spine stops moving properly, less signals go to the brain then starts to reduce its activity. That then reduces the activity to the body then starts to slow like a dimmer switch on the light and becomes sick. So subluxation is a misalignment of the spine significant to put pressure on the nerve. Now, the reason it's got a little bit funny in chiropractic is because one side of chiropractic says, people claiming to adjust subluxations and cure anything. I've just answered that a minute ago. And then other chiropractors are like, subluxation is what we do, nothing else. Now, I am of the remit that chiropractic is about the subluxation. That's where it all started. It's where it all came from. In the sense that what do I actually do as a chiropractor with my hands? It is to adjust the spine, correct subluxations. A lay term would be a misalignment of the spine, a manipulation to the spine. Manipulation, I think, should be reserved for bankers and politicians because that's not what I'm doing to people. An adjustment is much more specific.
Yeah.
How do we get subluxations in the spine? How on earth do we get misalignments in the spine? 3 things: physical trauma, chemical trauma, emotional trauma. Physical trauma, quite obviously, if you fell off your bike, you're going to get some misalignments in your spine. Physical trauma nowadays is what you and I are doing right now, sitting, huge compression and damage to the spine. Chemical trauma, the toxins that we choose to ingest and eat can increase inflammation in the body. They can put the body into a defense mechanism that can create irritation in the spine. And then emotional trauma is probably the biggest one. The simplest way of explaining that is if you're stressed, most of us hold tension in our neck and shoulders. And this creates subluxation in the spine. So back to the premise of a natural approach to health. Am I eating well, moving well, thinking well? Am I living a natural approach to life and to health? That will reduce the potential that I'll get those subluxations of the spine, those misalignments of the spine. But life is full of thoughts, traumas, and toxins.
Yeah.
Like we're sitting here today, recording a podcast. We have to sit for a period of time while we do this. I'm going to drive across town now. If someone chooses to cut me up, I may, for a split second, have a little outburst.
Yeah.
I'm better than I used to be.
Yeah, me too.
And I am going away with friends this weekend, and I may well have a glass of wine. So I'm going to have thoughts, traumas, and toxins.
Yeah.
So I need to go to a chiropractor on a regular basis to make sure that my spine isn't subluxated, so that I can know that I am living the best possible life for myself.
This is not some far out there woo-woo way of living. It's actually ridiculous that it has to be said to eat natural and healthy foods and move regularly and try and manage your emotions and your thoughts. Like it's
and this comes into the personal development. It's come from a very soft society. It's come from, I love that saying, hard times create strong men create easy times create weak men, and we're currently in the weak men state, moving maybe into a little bit of the harder times.
Hard times, yeah.
And the weak man chills, orders a takeout, watches TV, doesn't try to improve their life. If they're sick, they'll ask somebody else to help them. Whereas they should be taking that responsibility, that sovereignty of their health to help themselves. And I think that's where we've been so deconditioned as a Western society into comfort and convenience. And I love to take inspiration and knowledge from looking at indigenous North African or South American cultures. These people live to the age that we live. We're not living older than them. There's just more of us that are living older than them, and that nicely changes the average. So they're living to the ripe old age. They're healthy, they're fit, they're well, because they're living a congruent lifestyle.
Yeah, and just to go back to the toxins are not drink and drugs and poison, are they?
A great guy I've shared the stage with a couple of times talks about the whitey plague. The whitey plague being the white man who brings the white stuff. And the white stuff is wheat, dairy and sugar. These things in our diet that aren't really natural to us. And then we ingest wheat, dairy and sugar, and the white man gives you a white pill to correct the ills of those things. Sugar, we know, is massively toxic. Wheat is very pro-inflammatory, and dairy is very pro-inflammatory as well. But the Western world is built up on cereal in the morning and bread with every meal. And it's not necessarily about becoming some kind of martyr and completely cutting these out, but try to massively reduce them at least. Get an alternative for your meal. Reduce the amount of sugar that you're intaking. Cut the bread out or choose to have it on an infrequent occasion. Your health is not an incident unless you've been in a car crash. Your health is an accumulation of the effects that you have over time. For instance, we are both regular gym users, and we know that the results of our gym work is not going to happen tomorrow.
No.
It's the compounding effect over time. The reason you are sick, if you are sick listening to this, and this is personal responsibility, this is hard times, strong men, the reason you're sick is because of the habits that you've been doing leading up to this point. It's your fault. And people don't like to hear that.
No.
But if you take that right as a strong man, woman, then you can take control, you can change the habits, and you can move forwards.
And for me, tracking macros means that you can't eat bread and sugar, because I need to hit a certain amount of protein, and I'm trying to get a certain amount of protein in my diet because I know it helps with fat loss and muscle growth. And if I want to do that, I have to be very careful of the carbs and fats that I'm consuming. So
and that's a level of accountability. Like what gets measured gets managed. And Pearson's law of business, what gets managed gets managed, and what gets measured and reported on improves exponentially. So unless you are reporting on what you do, nothing really changes. So you are measuring your macros and you're having that conversation with yourself about it, hence you're reporting on it. Therefore, change will occur.
How else could you report on that, on the macros?
I record it. And write it down.
So I track mine in an app.
Yes.
Is that's
good enough because you are recording it.
And then I check it every day and I can look back over it. So
and that's your reporting.
Cool. Yeah. Makes sense. So, chiropractic. I want to ask you a question which is going to be quite controversial.
Cool.
And this is from another podcast that I listened to recently. Why is philosophy not taught in schools as much?
Great question. I think it's because philosophy scares people.
Yeah.
I think it's because philosophy is taken the wrong way. It's the same in schooling, not chiropractic schools. Philosophy has been, this philosopher said this, and this philosopher said this. And that comes back down to how we are educating the world into just thinking 1 + 1 = 2. Philosophy shouldn't be, this guy said this and this guy said this, because philosophy is the search of wisdom, the search of truth. It should be, let's ask some open questions and discuss this.
Instead of being told what to think, being told how to think.
So true.
Which does not happen.
Does not happen. And it pisses me off because university is tertiary level education. To be a chiropractor, you have to go to university. Tertiary level education is find your own answers to what's going on. Secondary level education is schooling. 1 + 1 = 2. We do this experiment, we get this. Now write that out in your exam, not think for yourself and learn for yourself. And that's where the whole education system globally, I think, has gone wrong. But I think there's just a complete lack of understanding in the schools. I think it's bred out of people wanting recognition and significance, which in the chiropractic profession started with regulation, wanting to be regulated so no one else could call themselves a chiropractor. I see the merit in that. But then people wanting to just be the top of the totem pole for their own self-righteousness as opposed to actually progressing the profession forward. I used to get very upset by it. I now say, well, I do what I do. I help people. I help people who are chiropractors to do what they do to help more people. If you just focus on service, it doesn't matter, what's going on elsewhere.
True. You are extremely fit. How often do you get adjusted?
At least once a week.
Me too.
At least once a week. At least once a week is a routine, and then occasionally symptomatically otherwise.
And I know recently you've had a bad back.
Yes.
And have you been getting adjusted more because of that?
I have, half and half. Like, chiropractic is not about symptoms.
No.
So, people might say, oh, you've got a bad back, go and get adjusted straight away. And I might get adjusted straight away. Yeah. But I've got a really bad low back, and if it's really bad, I might actually just choose to go in and check my neck.
Yeah.
Which means that my brain and body can communicate better to do the healing that it needs to do, and eventually adjust my back. And it also highlights that chiropractic isn't just about back pain.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many chiropractors who have bad backs, but they have great expressions of health underneath that surface.
Yeah, it's so true. It's not just about back pain. And when I speak to people about chiropractic, and they say, "But I don't have a bad back," and I'm like, "It's not about that. It's not all about
people
that."
don't realise how good they should feel.
Yeah.
People really don't realise how good they should feel.
Yeah, we've been tricked into thinking, because we see everybody else around us being sick, we think it's the norm, and we think it's okay. And
I mean, I had someone this week, like, they left like, I can see colour so much better. Like, that's your expression of life has just changed from one adjustment. Not that I can feel better, I can see colour better.
Yeah, when my first adjustment, and I don't know what people think when I say this, but when I walked into your practice, it was on my report of findings appointment, but I had my first adjustment and I walked out and I was immediately like, what is that smell? And for like a week to 10 days afterwards, I could smell so many things. And then I got used to it, I think.
Yes.
And it must have been something in my neck or something.
Well,
just a lot.
Your senses are through your nervous system.
Yeah, and I could tell it was significantly better.
Yeah, and that's that dimmer switch being turned up.
Yeah. For anybody who's not ever been to a chiropractor, I want to round this off. This episode, I think we've given a really nice introduction to chiropractic and why we use chiropractic and why we love chiropractic. Is there anything else you would like to say or you want to cover?
I would just say, like, people are listening to this because they want to be better. They want to develop themselves.
Yeah.
If you look at the top athletes in the world, the top businessmen in the world, they all see chiropractors.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to have a better expression for your life and for your health, and you want to be a better performer in your business, your relationship, and in your general health, then just go and see a chiropractor, get yourself checked, and see what you can do. And feel free to message me if you want me to find someone who is credible in your area. Yeah.
We'll have the contact details below. My sister actually went to a chiropractor last week for the first time.
Sweet.
She loved it.
Amazing.
They told her that her glutes didn't work.
Nice.
But she came out. She feels so much better already. She said after the first adjustment, it's in Mansfield. I think you know the guy.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but yeah, she said he was really good anyway. So we'll leave that there for today. If you are in the Lincoln area, I cannot recommend Epoch enough. Tom won't market himself, but I will. If you are local and if you know me and you want to go and see a chiropractor, I highly recommend going to see Tom and his team. They are incredible. And they have changed my life. So we'll leave it there.
Yeah, and I'd say it's me and my team.
Yeah.
They are brilliant. They are brilliant.
They
so
are
I
awesome.
appreciate all of them.
They are awesome.
So yeah, thanks to Daily. Great show, and let's hope some people get to chiropractic.
Yeah, let's hope so. Okay, so as always, please subscribe to this podcast. Please take a screenshot, share it. If you're a chiropractor, yeah, I've got time. If you're a chiropractor, I am doing a giveaway. So I am entering everybody who leaves us a 5-star review, takes a screenshot, tags Blitz Digital Media and Dr. Tom Waller in their story on Instagram. You will be entered into a draw to win one free video and advertisement from me. So please go ahead and share this episode, tag us in it, and get it on your story, and be entered into that draw to win those free ads.
Don't miss out on that.
And if you're not a chiropractor, please share the show anyway, and we will speak to you in the next episode.
Cheers, Lee.
Thank you.